The hype for Pokemon TCG's next expansion, Twilight Masquerade, is immense, as it's loaded with innovation and shakeups to gear us up for an exciting summer of Pokemon cards. We're talking paradigm shifts, meta disruptions, and powerhouses ready to redefine the competitive landscape. So, dust off your PTCG Live app and prepare to dive into the hottest new archetypes this side of the Kitakami region. Now, the big card of the set is of course Dragapult DX, but I've already covered it and its options in my previous video. So today, it's all about all the other decks that are viable, and how they are adapting to the Dragapult DX phenomenon of Twilight Masquerade. In this video, we will go over Lugia V-Star innovations, Miraidon EX's resurgence, Gardevoir EX's adaptability, and Raging Bolt's burst into the scene, and finally, if and how Charizard EX can try to adapt to these shifts. First up, we have Lugia V-Star decks. This legendary Pokemon receives some very powerful upgrades in every aspect, with the most important one being Legacy Energy. Not only does this A-Spec Energy provide a powerful effect by reducing the prizes your opponent takes, but it allows you to attack with powerful new attackers like Iron Hands EX's Amp You Very Much and Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX's Torrential Pump. Even in a pinch, you can use Lumineon V's Aqua Return to remove the liability from the board too. Both of these provide a new dimension to Lugia V-Star decks to build on from the foundation of hit big and hard that Cinccino provides. Additionally, the deck already has a natural protection against Dragapult EX's bonus damage counters thanks to Mist Energy. The deck now seems like it can do everything it dreamed of, and is as close as it's going to get to the times when it was at the forefront of the format back in early 2023. With Cinccino, it has the big powerful energy intensive one-hit KOs on any Pokemon. And with Legacy Energy, you can now take extra prizes on single price Pokemon, both with Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX as well as Iron Hands EX. To top it all off, Blood Moon Ursaluna EX provides a low energy intensive late game option to deal a high amount of damage that wasn't available before. We've talked about the new Pokemon and energy additions, but what about any new trainers? That is where Carmine comes in. This brand new supporter is a less powerful Professor's Research, as you discard your hand and draw 5 instead of 7. However, you can play this card on your first turn, even if you go first. This is a big consistency boost to Lugia V-Star, and goes a long way into helping discard those pesky Archeops as soon as possible. This list is a good example of what Lugia V-Star might look like in the near future, and in the lead up to NAIC. And even though I haven't been a fan of the deck for a long time now, it now has 3 new fantastic attackers, as well as Legacy Energy's fantastic effects. In addition to Charizard's downfall, might just make me a believer and respect the deck once again. If you have enjoyed the video so far and found the information useful, please consider becoming a tablemon channel member through the join button down below. For as low as $1.99 a month, you can help support the creation of these videos. Next, we shift into high gear with the resurgence of Miraidon EX decks. This deck is all about speed and aggression, and it showed its power by winning the Sapporo Champions League tournament over in Japan, albeit it needed a little bit of luck and a misplay to do so. Regardless of that though, even if it got second place, it makes sense for Miraidon EX to have a resurgence in viability. The first reason for this comeback is just the inherent strength, synergy, and consistency of Miraidon EX decks and all the lightning support around it. All of it is still available: Electric Generator, Iron Hands EX, Raikou V, Raichu V, and Zapdos, rounded out with Miraidon EX's tandem unit ability. All we're missing is Flaffy. The second reason for this comeback is that Dragapult EX is keeping Miraidon's #1 enemy, Charizard EX, in check. There's a clear reduction in the presence of Charizard EX both in City League results as well as the Champions League, with none in the top 16. And the third and final reason is also Dragapult EX, but this time it's the fact that every Pokemon in the deck has high enough HP that it is not really threatened much by the damage counter placement on benched Pokemon, and also the 200 damage cap for Phantom Dive that misses crucial KOs. These 3 reasons, combined with the increased popularity and viability of Lugia V-Star, is the perfect storm for Miraidon EX to come right back to the metagame to torment players with Iron Hands EX on turn 1. We also have Gardevoir EX, which so far hasn't enjoyed the level of success it had prior to rotation, but is still posting good results, and now gains the very unique Adrenaline Power ability of Munkidori, allowing you to move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponents as long as it has a Dark Energy attached. This requirement is not a big deal at all, as you should very rarely have any problem dedicating your attachment for turn to it. This ability provides direct protection against the damage counters from Dragon Ball TX, and it also means you can 1. Heal the residual damage from Gardevoir EX's ability, wherever they might be, and 2. Acts as bonus damage. This lets you reach over the 300 damage cap with a Drifloon with a Bravery Charm attached, as you can attach 5 energy, place 10 damage counters, transfer one of them with Munkidori to somewhere else, leaving you with 9, and now you can Psychic Embrace a 6th energy onto, putting you at 11 damage counters and doing 330 damage, covering both Charizard EX and Dragon Ball TX perfectly. Being able to reach higher damage thresholds with Bravery Charm means your A-spec of choice no longer needs to be Heroescape. On first stamp is a very powerful option to help disrupt much earlier than Iono, especially backed by multiple refinements. But speaking of multiple refinements, perhaps Hyper Aroma is an even better choice, as you can establish triple Kirlia immediately on turn 2 off a single Arven. Whichever A-spec you choose between Munkidori, Cresselia, and Professor Turo scenario, the deck has enough coverage for Dragon Ball TX, as well as the raw strength of Drifloon and Screamtail as attackers to make this a top tier deck. Finally, we land on Raging Ball TX, paired with Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. Raging Ball TX has gotten very few results beyond a few showings in Day 2 since its release over on this side of the world. But the energy acceleration of Teal Dance and the grass type coverage of Myriad Leaf Shower against its worst enemy, Charizard EX, bring the deck to a whole new power level. Bellowing Thunder is a very powerful attack, reminding me of the amazing Red Rayquaza that I used last season for a good degree of success. Being able to deal unlimited damage is always appealing, and the 70 damage multiplier is actually way better than even Chien-Pao EX's Hailblade attack, as with 4 energies for 280 or 5 for 350, you have pretty much the whole format covered. Even though the deck has always had access to Sandy Shock EX's magnetic absorption ability, it doesn't work until your opponent has 4 prizes or less, making the deck extremely dependent on Professor Sada's vitality, which is not ideal. Now though, Ogerpon provides extra energy and extra draw from the get-go, and even though playing 3 different types of energy sounds messy, with 3 or 4 Earth and Vessel you can definitely work your way around that. Another good thing going for this deck is that Dragon Ball TX discourages the use of single price Pokemon decks in general, which are often a pain for Raging Ball TX as it has to work so hard to get the energy in play and then get rid of them. But if you're easily one-hit KOing a lot of 2-pricers, that's ideal and plays to Raging Ball TX's strengths. Now, don't get me wrong, Charizard EX, Giratina V-Star and Turbo Lost Box decks aren't going anywhere, and Snorlax and Dialga V-Star are probably sticking around as well. There's also fun options like Iron Thorns EX, the Diplin Festival Plaza combo, and even Greninja EX and Blissey EX. But these 4 decks seem to be the biggest winners both in terms of options, but also in the metagame shifting away from the dominance of Charizard EX, sitting at the very top. Speaking of Charizard EX, the curtains haven't closed on it yet. The deck should be able to adapt to this metagame by playing things like 70 HP Charmanders, Double Flare Veil Charmeleon, Professor Turo, Mist Energy, and heck, even Pidgeot might make an appearance in the list from now on. Once your Pokemon have evolved, the 6 damage counters matter less and less, and there's even options like a one-off freshwater set that could help mitigate the early pressure of the 6 damage counters. The incoming metagame I think will shift more towards a more even spread between all these viable decks, with no deck having a higher meta share than 15 to 17% in total at the biggest tournaments. Whether that makes it easier or harder to pick a deck, that is up to you to decide and find out. I hope this video has been useful for you, and if you think there's another deck that will have a very big impact in the metagame that you think I should cover, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, until next time, bye bye!